People from Alabama, how do you feel about the incest jokes? Most of us are annoyed by it but then run across certain people and we're like, okay. Yeah. Alabama. At least we're not Florida. Florida. At least we're not Alabama. Just asked my father and brother about this. He thinks it's stupid. I was born in Alabama but raised in a pretty redneck part of Northwest Florida. I've never heard of anyone sleeping with a sibling or parent. Not even a rumor. Nothing. Now cousins? Aunts and uncles? That's a different story. I've caught 2 of my cousins having. My uncle propositions me for all the time. I got drunk around a bonfire and I'm pretty sure I made out with at least 2 of my cousins. I don't get offended by the jokes or anything. Outside of Reddit, people don't actually bring up incest that much. I always wonder why people specifically go for Alabama when Mississippi is right there in us. By all accounts. So much worse LMAO. After reading this thread, I'm beginning to think Arkansas has more incest than Alabama. Skeptical smiley face. Source. Am a former Arkansan and I can't tell you how many people I know who had their first kiss with a cousin. Not even mentioning the scandals. I mean, I know of incest relationships here and there but it isn't nearly as common as the stereotype suggests. If you want the truth, the whole "marry your cousin" was an actual thing when wealthy Southern plantation owners saw themselves as the new royalty and followed the marrying traditions of European, mainly English, royals. Honestly? Kind of conflicted. On the one hand, we make the jokes about ourselves all the time. Also, I'm an Auburn grad, Bama is our in-state rival, so seeing the entire world say "Roll Tide" to on people for incest does good things for my heart. On the other hand, it's tough. There's an element of, no, that's ours. We're the only ones who are allowed to make jokes about it. There's also the fact that a lot of people who make the jokes either genuinely think that's what Alabama is like, and they've got no idea what the state is actually like. It's definitely not perfect and there's plenty of valid criticisms. But my hometown is where they build rockets. It's got among the highest PhDs per capita in the US. It's literally all defense and space travel. Birmingham is a really cool city with a lot of great stuff. There's this incredible brewery renaissance that's happening in the state. There's some really great universities with some incredible programs in science, engineering, medicine, design, etc. So it kind of bums me out that people are gonna automatically assume I'm just uneducated. Backwoods hick who my cousin because I happen to be born and raised in the South. I'm an extremely well-educated, highly qualified designer in the tech industry who my cousin. Thanks. Roll Tide. I don't know why you're asking here. People from Alabama can't read. Me and my mother have to hear that all the time. Even when we're out and about. Some jackass made a crack like that while the 2 of us were trying to celebrate my 26th birthday. It completely ruined our 15th anniversary. My daughter took a wrong turn in Idaho right up near Canada and came across a tar paper community. Everyone slowly came out of the various hovels and even the 12-year-olds were armed. My daughter explained to a guy who looked kinda like the boss that they were lost and just wanted to get to Montana. No one said a word but he just looked at them and pointed over his shoulder. She swears there were banjos picking off in the distance. They skedaddled right quick. Wait. There are other jokes besides "Sweet Home Alabama"? From Alabama. Don't really care gets old a lot honestly. I want to hear a creative insult about Alabama rather than "You're all dumb and sleep with your siblings." Anyone got anything good? Whatever college football team you follow. Those jokes aren't about you. They're about the other guys. I'm from Alabama and can definitely take a joke. But some people just make themselves sound ignorant for the typical Alabama stereotypes they assume. Not from Alabama but my grandparents are in and born in Canada and they are first cousins. They gave birth to my dad who helped to make me. Unfunny and overused. Lived there for more than half my life. Sure there's dumbass rednecks and, but just as much of that incest stuff as in any other American state. I spent a year in Alabama because my dad got some work there. I never heard of anyone actually doing that stuff with their family. Except for one couple I met that were third cousins. The jokes online take way too much out of proportion so it has always made me confused. And then when I visited Saudi Arabia last year. There was so much incest everywhere. Almost every couple I met were really related. It was so disgusting. I'm surprised nobody has been making Sweet Home Arabia jokes. I'm from one of the more redneck areas of Alabama. I went to school with one incest pair of brothers. It's actually as bad as the rest of America makes out the redneck people in certain areas. But also at the same time Birmingham and the big college towns are very nice, full of diversity. We like to keep such humor in the family. Right, Ma? Oh, speaking of incest jokes. I'm pretty sure my username fits this perfectly. Georgia. Hold my beer. Gavin? I've lost my friend Gavin. English bloke. Have you seen him? Gav. Neither my sister, my mom, nor my girlfriend like the constant incest jokes. In fact, they really her off. I don't mind them, but my wife keeps saying, shut up. Bro. If you can't poke a little fun at yourself, you might be your cousin. I would be that Eastern Oregon. Utah and Idaho have as much incest, if not more, than Alabama. I've seen areas of rural California that look as much like Deliverance as Lick Skillet, Alabama. I'm not so sure. But I'll ask my mom. Hey, honey, how do we feel about incest jokes again? Annoys the out of me. I mean, we're not West Virginia. Plenty of people in Alabama really do commit incest. They're called Auburn fans. If it's jokes, then whatever. Most of us can take a joke. But if someone is insulting thinking everyone here has taken part, then it's infuriating. Us Mobilians do not associate with whatever the Alabamians above us do. Leave us and our crack leprechauns alone, please. It's really annoying. Everybody's cracking these stupid incest jokes and no one's taking the time to appreciate how beautiful our state really is. Wait. My question is, if a man and woman get married in Alabama and divorced in California, are they still brother and sister? Honestly, they're mildly annoying. I just take comfort in knowing it says more about the intelligence level of person who cracks the joke than it does me. I'm usually the one making them. It is interesting to see how people in different places react to the jokes, though. I lived in South Carolina for a few years and people would laugh at my jokes and share similar ones about South Carolina. Now I live in New England and people seem more concerned than anything. As a fellow Northwest Floridian, I can tell you that we probably make the most Alabama jokes to separate us from that state, even though we are basically the same, just with a better beach. Personally, I couldn't care less. Most people where I am use the joke casually. I do wish people could pay attention to the History and Space Center rather than that, though. They don't bother me anymore. Honest to God, though. It gets old and that's why they no longer bother me. I get tired of when I say, oh, I'm from Alabama on Discord or whatever, and people's first response is, how can you read? Or, have you been your cousin? Plus I gave up on defending this state after watching it go down in the last couple of years. To me, I'm just a person stuck within some state lines. At least cost of living is cheap, I guess. Asked my wife and cousin. She said it doesn't bother her too much. I mean, to be fair, until like the 80s or something they made us take a blood test to make sure we weren't too closely related in Alabama. Still though, kinda weirds me out. But I suppose I'd rather that than instead of some other jokes I could hear living in the South. Used to joke about that with my husband, since his family is from Arkansas. Turns out, a lady they thought was a cousin from the mom's side might have actually been an aunt from the dad's side. Everyone forgets Rhode Island. That's the only state with a gray area in the incest problem as far as I know. Lived in Alabama my entire life. Never met a single person that I know of that has slept with or been attracted to a family member. I don't get offended by the jokes. I just think they're kinda lame. Like a low form of humor. Haha, everyone in Alabama their sister. Meh. I just kinda roll my eyes and move on. While this has been asked before, since I know my lineage, I just laugh if they're funny. Funny at first. Got old really quick. I don't feel that great about myself. But thanks for asking anyways. If only they weren't so accurate. No, but seriously. I only know one person who ended up accidentally dating a cousin. Bored. I have never heard of anyone here doing anything close to being considered incest. I've seen more concerning things in rural Michigan. We tell them too. Uncle Dad loves them. It's always been annoying, but I think it gets said about several neighboring states too. And then places like Utah get made fun of for other stuff. You must have 3 wives, her. So it's not like we're the only ones getting teased. The thing that chaps me the most is how much incest there is now. I can't even get on Pornhub without family or step being the most common category of videos. It's like y'all wanna make fun of it, but you're beating off to this all over the country. It could always be worse. At least we're not Canada.